everybody's a leader, a mother, a sister, a father, a brother, a niece. So we're all leaders. But the point I'm making is those nonverbal cues, those changes in behavior, sleep patterns, appetite, giving things away. Those are all clues that, wait a minute, they're not following their routine. And this could save someone's life.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tom Ray, a John Maxwell certified leadership coach. Welcome to Life, Love, and Leadership, where we discuss everything pertaining to life, love, and leadership. Let's get started. Welcome to Life, Love, and Leadership. I'm Dr. Tom Ray. Joining with me on the line today is Dr. Lisa H. Fuller. Say hi to everyone for me.
Hello. Hello.
Awesome. So good to have you. And we'll get to talk with her a little bit more in just a moment. But before we do, I like to start off every show with an attitude of gratitude. And today I am thankful once again for my wife. She's beautiful and lovely, and we recently celebrated our 31st wedding anniversary, and I'm just so honored to have her in my life, and thank God for the gift of her in my life. Dr. Lisa, are you grateful for anything today?
I am. I am grateful for my sons and my grandson, who is the newest addition to our family. Awesome.
Great. What's your newest addition's name?
His name is Cameron Fuller.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Cameron Fuller.
Yeah.
Well, all right. That's wonderful. So listen, everyone, today's going to be a special show, not only because Dr. Lisa H. Fuller is on the line, but also because of our topic today. We're going to be talking about mental health and amongst other things, to get to know Dr. Lisa and all the things that she's connected with and involved with. So fasten your seatbelts. We're in for a great next few moments together. So Dr. Lisa H. Fuller is a wonderful person. Let's just start there. I've been blessed to know her for several years now in her dedication to ministry and to people. And she's going to share with you what she's a doctor in or about. Probably a couple of things, if I'm not mistaken. But then she's an author of several books, one being Missions Minded Journal, I believe. Yeah. And that one's kind of more near and dear to my heart. As a lot of you, my listeners, know, I lost my sister in 2015 to a hit and run accident. And in 2016, I got to go to Kenya, Africa to dedicate a water well in my sister's honor, because she was riding her bicycle across the state of Michigan to raise money for the Hope Water Project that provides clean water wells to the Pokot people in Kenya, Africa. And so I got to go there and see firsthand the desperate need for clean water there. And so they actually named a water well after her. And it was such an honor to go and be a part of that. So Dr. Lisa H. Fuller is on the line. Hey, can you give us a little snapshot? Who is Dr. Lisa H. Fuller?
I am a physician, my specialty psychiatrist. I'm a psychiatrist for about 37 years. And I have the opportunity and privilege to, over the last 30 years, to work and serve the people of Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana. So that's really, really awesome. And presently I work in not only Macomb County, but Wayne County as well. So that's really exciting. I have a private practice, which is in Macomb County and Wayne County, one being at the Renzen Center. But not only that, I am the senior pastor of Christ Arms Reaching Everywhere Ministries and overseer of Lisa H. Fuller Ministries. So I have, my hands in a couple of different pots. And one of the things that's passionate to my heart, like yours, are the people in Kenya. We have in Kenya children that we sponsor, clean water sources that we provide. So one of our other ministries is not only in North America, but as well as in Liberia. Now, I'll tell you a funny story.
Yeah.
My very first mission trip ever, it was to Siberia, of all the places in the world. And I thought, oh my goodness, I remember going in May, but the glaciers literally were as high as like a two-story house.
Wow.
So it was with the Christian Medical and Dental Association. And what a time was that. It was just blessings, blessings, and blessings. Mhm.
Wow. How long ago was that approximately?
Well, that was my first mission trip. So I want to say 2008, maybe
Hmm.
something like that. And then from there on, it was Bulgaria and the north, I'm not the north, but the east and the south and the west part of Africa, Spain, Haiti, Panama. So different places, just awesome. I'm very thankful.
So world traveler now, we can add that to the list. So, but you just bring a breath of fresh air wherever you go, and when you connect with
Mhm.
people, and it's so incredible to just hear your heart as you share many times that I've been privileged to hear you. But I mentioned at the top that you are author of several books, not just Missions Minded Journal, but tell us some of the other books you've written, and perhaps you've got some in the can ready to come out, right?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's really awesome. The Missions Minded is a mission mind, it's a journal series. And so I've had the opportunity to not only to serve on the mission field, but to lead missions. So as a result, instead of carrying the spinal books and say, here, take this journal, I created a journal so people can have that. And also the manual. So if I am teaching or leading a team or someone else, there's a packing list, what to do, what to bring, what not to do, when, where to get your passport, immunizations, etc. And then there's a devotion. The devotion is you already have all the tools that you need. And the forward was written by Dr. Edgar L. Van of Second Ebenezer. So that's really exciting. And my grandson, his mother is Mexican, so we are raising him bilingually. So there is God is love, First John. And so we have a Spanish version, and I should say a Spanish and an English version. And that's exciting because what it is it's a book that for like grandmothers and grandfathers to sit with their children on their grandchildren on their lap and just read. And what it does is teaches them who God is and has illustrations. And do you want to receive Jesus as your savior?
Hmm.
I've watched grandmothers literally read that book to their grandchildren, and I've seen them say, I want to accept Jesus. I want Jesus in my heart.
Wow,
Yeah, yeah,
that's wonderful.
yeah.
And and that's is that all the books?
No, we have a couple more. There's a devotion that's coming out soon, and it's a
Nice.
women. And it's to my nieces, it brings women to a point to say, this is who God made me. This is who I am. I'm wonderfully made. And regardless of the negative, word curses, etc., I believe, and I stand on God's word. So it's actually taking them through in a day-to-day progression of who God made them. So yeah, I'm excited.
Wonderful. And the name of that book again?
It's really funny. I laugh at it. It's called the 30 plus 1 day devotion and journal.
Nice. A mouthful, but certainly something that will help people in their daily life, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, speaking about daily life, kind of the topic of the show today is to kind of tap on mental health. About that, and you deal with a little bit of that every day, I'm assuming, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes there's a negative stigmatism attached to the word mental health, but when we think about it from the perspective of health, it means that we're working on that part of our life to make it healthy.
Mhm.
Am I right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I think it's becoming more of a thing that everyone is embracing now, and wanting to see people helped, and find strength and community with all of that. But can you open that up to us a little bit and give us some background on perhaps some issues that you've encountered, and some that we need to be aware of?
Absolutely. I just wanted to share with one of my appointments in the early part of my career. I had the opportunity to be faculty at Wayne State School of Medicine and also at the Crisis Center. So it's very important that we understand that mental health, like you said, is a real illness, just like diabetes, high blood pressure, asthma, seizures. There's a myth, there's several myths, but one of the myths that say people with mental illness can't work, or people with mental illness can't live independently, or they can't have families. And the reality is that there are millions, literally millions of people, for example, who are taking antidepressant medication. And a substantial amount of the antidepressants, for example, are prescribed by primary care docs versus the psychiatrist. So these are very important things that we need to bring to the forefront. And it's not an issue of you have a weak persona, you're a weak person. It's a matter of this is an illness. And if you go to the doctor, you have chest pain, or if you have a bone that's sticking out of your arm, for example, you're going to go to the emergency department.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just as serious. It's just
Yeah.
serious. Yeah.
What's the biggest thing? Would you say the biggest thing is that people try to hide that, or try to um, make it without, like, with that bone sticking out, for instance, and just try to, cover it up, and instead of uh, meeting it head on, and working through it? What have you seen in regards to that?
I've seen that. And what happens is that's why programs like this podcast and open communication and community involvement is so important, because people believe, I should just try to make it through, or I need to just kind of shove it back in the corner, or I don't want them to know because I'm weak. And what happens is that these type of discussions and conversations bring these topics to the forefront, and it allows people to say, you know what, maybe I should go get treatment. Maybe I should go talk to someone. Maybe, this is what I need. If there are a million plus prescriptions being given, what happens is that maybe it's okay.
Yeah, that's good. So, I deal a lot with marriage, and there's a lot of married couples that are dealing with issues, and they sometimes isolate themselves thinking we're the only ones going through something like this. And it's unfortunate, because if they go to their to a counselor, or to their pastor, or to a marriage conference, they think if they go to that, it's showing a sign of weakness. I remember years ago, my wife and I were heading out to a marriage conference, and someone came to us and said, "Why are you guys going to a marriage conference? You guys have a great marriage." I said, "Because we want to have a great marriage. That's why we're going to a marriage conference. We want to continue to work on that, and continue to invest into our relationship, to make it better, and to be intentional in our relationship." And so I think the same thing applies to this area of mental health, that we want to be healthy, just like a marriage would want to be healthy, or you as an individual, you'd want yourself to be healthy. I mean, we went through this big deal with COVID over the past couple of years, and so when people were sick, they wanted to get well. And it's sad when someone thinks that because they're having mental sickness, that they should keep that to themselves,
Mhm.
when there's help out there, and there's remedies that will help that person become healthy, or become functional in the world again.
It's really interesting also because just because someone goes to see a therapist doesn't mean they're quote unquote stigmatized or blackballed or labeled. They're just like with diabetes and high blood pressure, for example, some levels of hypertension is controlled in a dietary fashion. And then what happens is, as the more severe progression of the illness, you may have medication, dialysis, amputations, et cetera, with the kidneys. And I say all that to say, like you were saying, there may be some issues where you may need to see a counselor or a therapist or go to groups. And then after that, the other issue is it may progress to medication. But regardless of what level or progression of the illness, and I'm saying illness, we should not feel afraid. And it's, I kind of want to say a sidebar, and I'm talking about also professionals, also physicians, also clergy should not feel afraid, intimidated, or embarrassed to seek, help or good, quote unquote, mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail right on the head. Even leaders, I'm leading. How can I do this? Because it'll show weakness to my team,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But you know what? Your team wants you to be healthy because
Yeah.
they want to know that they can trust the person that's leading them. And if you're not, altogether healthy, then it's going to make things difficult in the long run of trust and cooperation. Sometimes we get caught into that rat race and we get overwhelmed, and to the point where we just got stressed out, and then we start breaking down, and it's a big mess.
Mhm.
And so it's important that we spend time thinking into our lives and where we're at. Perhaps we are very stressed out because we've taken too much on our plate.
Mhm.
And we just need a voice, even just to say, hey, do you need to be doing all that?
Mhm.
Or is there some place or someone you can delegate this to? Right? Because too
Yeah.
much of that will cause a bigger and worse problem. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And the thing is that that is one of the major characteristics of a good leader, because you do things intentionally. So therefore, you intentionally take care of your physical health, exercise, and one should intentionally take care of their mental health. And it could range anywhere from just taking a day off once a month, just thinking, spending time and what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Or just doing nothing. Like maybe once a month, I will do literally nothing. And in an hour, if my brain is like, okay, you got to do something, then I'm like intentionally, nope, you're not going to do anything. And so at the end of the day, the next day, I feel totally and completely just renewed.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. It's
Totally.
very important.
Totally. To go on a vacation, even if it's just in your own mind and away from the hustle and bustle of every day. And something else I think you'll agree with me on is that we as leaders are looking out for our team and
Mhm.
making sure that they're getting their mental health checked on a regular basis, and that we're making sure that we're having a listening ear to what they're saying, or even the things they're not saying, and then having a watchful eye even to the things that they may not be trying to show,
Mhm.
and being able to watch for them, and yeah, and paying attention to what's going on in their life so that perhaps we can save their life. We know that suicide is a big killer in our nation or
Yes.
perhaps the
Yeah.
world, and most of the time it can be avoided if someone just took the time to listen to someone and or be there to point them in the next direction.
Mhm.
Often suicide is a temporary fix, or excuse me, a permanent fix to a temporary problem.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so we want to cut that thought off at the pass and bring some healing to that person.
I just want to say one thing that's very important, and you had mentioned it. You said what they're not saying or trying to hide in essence. And that's very important because the nonverbal cues I've been on several panels for interns, residents, et cetera. And what's happened is the stressors of the programs, they're trying to make it, going without sleep, trying to be the best that they could. And what happens is they end up having sometimes psychotic breaks or need counseling or services or mental health services. And team members are like, well, maybe we shouldn't because that will stigmatize, but it can prevent a suicide gesture or a suicide attempt. So arguments and irritability, sleeping patterns and sleeping changes, what people are not saying, and we as leaders or we as non-leaders, everybody's a leader, a mother, a sister, a father, a brother, a niece. So we're all leaders. But the point I'm making is those non-verbal cues, those changes in behavior, sleep patterns, appetite, giving things away, those are all clues that, wait a minute, they're not following their routine. And this could save someone's life.
That's good. Before we rush off of that, is there anything else that you could kind of share from this perspective? Let's say someone's listening to this podcast and they're going through some struggles themselves. What would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
It's really interesting because first and foremost, I would say that what we talked about is a mental illness it's a real illness. It's not a character weakness. And that's really, really important. And two is there is help. There are, their community mental health, their private agencies, there is help. Number three is that if someone does not know how to reach out for help, they can go to their primary care physician, they can go to urgent care, or they can go to the emergency department. And the reason why is there are social workers and there are psychologists and there are the consultation liaison services within the hospital proper that can evaluate, talk to, and refer if necessary. One of the major things is that people are afraid they're going to be locked up, their rights are going to be taken away, they're going to be drugged. I just want to share, reach out. That's the reason why we have communication like this. Reach out, don't be afraid, don't be intimidated. And I want to say one thing that's really, really important is that no one can force any medication upon you unless there's a judge. And you have to be a threat to yourself, threat to others, not have any insight into your mental health, or not eating, quote unquote. And I don't mean eating like, oh, I'm missing a meal. I'm talking about to the point where you are like almost malnourished. It could be devastating, dangerously devastating. But those are key factors. You have control, you have rights, you have say in your treatment, and there is help. Just reach out.
That's good. That's good stuff. Is there any place where people can go if they're struggling with something like that?
Well, it's really neat, I think, the way the country is set up because there are community mental healths throughout the nation, and they are with respect to geographic locations, but they can call the American Psychiatric Association or Google the American Psychiatric Association. There is the national, and I may be saying this wrong, so I don't want to say it, but I will say this. If you go to Discern Life Consultant website, which is my private practice, discernlifeconsultant.com, there are resources. So the community mental health, it's a matter of, and again, I go back to urgent care and to the hospital emergency department. And the reason why is because there's consultation liaison services and referral services. So there is, they're connecting. If someone is watching, for example, in Macomb County Community Mental Health, Wayne County Community Mental Health, but there's also a genre, again, of other services. But if they have no other avenue and they don't know what to do, they can, again, go to the emergency department. If they're suicidal, and this is very important, pick the phone up, call 911. Literally, there is help. And people want to get involved so that we can help.
And by the way, They just came out with a brand new number for those specifically dealing with suicide, and that's 988. That's the new
Hmm.
number that just got implemented just about 2 or 3 months ago.
Hmm.
988, or you can Google suicide hotline and just Google that, and a plethora of information pops right up, including the 988 that you can dial on your phone and get instant connection to someone who can work with you through whatever you're facing at the time. Or you can text 988 and connect with someone that way. So there's certainly many ways to do that.
Absolutely. I just want to add one thing to that. The suicide hotline or those numbers, they have after you call that number, you can press a certain button. I think it's number 1 for veterans. You can press a certain button and you can have, if you're Spanish speaking, and be connected. So
Nice.
those, that's just awesome.
But certainly don't try to go on it on your own. Because there's a group of people that will be there to help you, and even if you're a person of faith, certainly don't hold back from reaching out either, and even connect to your faith community, your church, or your pastor. Connect with people who will connect with you and perhaps encourage you and or pray for you, or connect you to the right resources that will bring you help in your dire need. So, well, we've been talking about mental health, and there's some events coming up, right, on that subject. And so, why don't you tell us a little bit about the mental health fair that's coming up?
Well, the mental health fair is a Tri-County Mental Health Fair. So it's in Wayne, in Oakland, and Macomb. And it is on October the 8th, which is a Saturday. There's going to be a panel discussion. I have my phone here because I want to make sure that I say this right. So the discussion is from 9 to 10, and it's social economic disparities in mental health treatment. That's a mouthful, but in all essence, what they're talking about is this is what happened and this is what is happening. This is what the rules and regulations and policy is saying. However, this is what we've experienced. And so they're going to be different people from different backgrounds, undergrad, graduate students, one of the senators, a couple of different people are going to just be talking about this and encouraging, audience participation. But in addition to that, and I just want to, if it's okay with you, just share some of the topics:
Yeah.
struggle with depression, a discussion on autism, handling grief, inner healing, CPR certification. And this is from the American Heart Association, one of the representatives of the youth, the Real Talk, depression and suicidality in youth, working through, I don't know if I said this, but grief and surviving trauma. And these are from some of the experts throughout the area who deal with this and literally treat the people on a day-to-day basis.
Mm, that's good. That's good stuff. It sounds like it's jam-packed with information. Will there be people there that someone can actually talk to for additional resources?
Yeah, Macomb County Community Mental Health, which is really cool because in my mind, my idea was to connect people. So Black Family Development, to connect people to resources. For example, I have a private practice, but I see very limited amount of people in the private practice. But for everyone else, because one person can only do so much, what happens is the resources, the clinicians, their referrals directly to them. So the purpose of the of the mental health fair is for the community. It's free, there's no charge, and this is my part. There's fun and there's food and there's giveaways. I like to give away things. So
Nice.
so and then outside, there's going to be karaoke for the family. It's just, again, good mental health. What is it? It's having fun, it's opening up discussion, free talk, eating, and then learning. And that's even better because, again, it's for the community, so it's free. Just come along. It's at Evangel, inside of Evangel Christian Churches, and I just want to give the addresses: 28491 Utica Road, and it's on on off of Gratiot, and we're just really excited. The panel discussion is from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. the vendors and the breakout sessions and the CPR. Mhm.
Wow, it sounds like a jam-packed day even. And there's even food.
Food and giveaways.
Food and giveaways. Love those two things. And again, that's October 8th, right?
Mhm,
All
mhm.
beginning at 9 a.m. at Evangel Christian Churches, 28491 Utica Road, Roseville, Michigan, 48066,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. Mhm.
Uh, Great. And will you be promoting this at all on your website or anything like that?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, discernlifeconsultants.com, discernlifeconsultants.com. There is a Tri-County Mental Health Fair, or you can actually click to go to Discern Life Consultants / Tri-County Mental Health. Or the other thing is that you can go to drlisahfuller.com and then you can connect that way. Call the church, call Evangel Christian Churches, just Google the number, and you can connect. There's awesome many ways you can connect, but more than anything else, just come on out and have fun.
Wow, that's wonderful. So this has been a really great time with you. And I think you mentioned off air that there's some other things coming up with you and your ministry or whatever you have going on. Why don't you share that with everybody real quick?
On October the 29th, which is a Saturday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., Christ's Arms Reaching Everywhere Ministries, we're having a revival. And the title, the theme of the revival is Walking in the Things That God Has Birthed This Season.
Hmm.
And so it's really exciting. I'm excited about it. Prophetic word, healing ministry, the presence of Holy Spirit. So just it's exciting to see what God is going to do. And I say that with anticipation. Then on November the 12th, which is the second Saturday of November, we're having a virtual revival, and it will be with Apostle Innocent, and he is from Nigeria. He has we've had revivals with him before during the pandemic, and so this is an awesome man of God, and it's just really exciting.
Okay. That's drlisahfuller.com, correct?
Correct.
And all things Dr. Lisa H. Fuller is right there, right?
There you go.
Okay. All right, everyone, you heard it from her own lips. So drlisahfuller.com, or you can email her at drlisahfuller at drlisahfuller.com. So that's really wonderful. Anything else coming up or you'd like to share with our community here?
I just want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to come on your podcast, your broadcast. I don't take it lightly. You could have had anyone, so thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. And it's been a privilege having you on, for my sake. Oh, and you have a podcast yourself or a radio program, right? Why don't you tell us about
Yes.
that really quick?
On Sunday mornings on WMKM 1440 AM at 8:30, there is Christ Arms Reaching Everywhere Ministries and Lisa H. Fuller Ministries, again from 8:30 to 9 a.m. It's exciting. It's a word of encouragement for the week or to start the week out. And this is every Sunday. And then there is a podcast which we have, and it is on Anchor. It is, to me, an absolutely amazing podcast because we have, of course, Dr. Tom and several other guests who just offers a word of encouragement, great men and women of God who literally by their living testimony gives us, just encouragement. So thank you for being my guest on the podcast.
Awesome. It was a pleasure for sure. I'd like to thank you for being a guest on the show today. And listen, everyone, please connect with Dr. Lisa H. Fuller and drlisahfuller.com. to get some more information on what we were talking about today, our discussion on mental health. And I love that, Dr. Lisa, that mental health is not a character weakness.
Mhm.
What you said. I thought that was a powerful quote. And so please check in with her, and don't miss out on these events that are coming up with the Mental Health Fair on October 8th. And the revival she's planning on October 29th, and then a virtual revival on November 12th. Her podcast, her radio program, her ministry, just check her out. I'm sure there's something there that will be a blessing to you and everything you have going on. But I wanted to let you know that not only am I the owner of the Real Leadership Company, but I'm also a new realtor with the Linda Ray team of Real Estate One. Yes, I'm a realtor now, and helping people not only through coaching and leadership development with the Real Leadership Company, but now helping people find their dream home and connecting them to a place that maybe they'll live for the rest of their life. So if I can be a blessing to you in any of those ways, contact me, realleadershipcompany.com, or you can reach me on the real estate side by emailing me at TomReaRealtor@gmail.com. Tom, REA, Realtor@gmail.com. Or you can call me at 586-275-7732. That's 586-275-7732. And it's been a pleasure of mine to have your listening ear today, everyone. And thank you for tuning in to Life, Love, and Leadership.